Hi and welcome to Steve's Kitchen. I don't know if there'll be anybody in here yet, but good day, good morning, good evening, and good night, of course, wherever you are in the world. We're going to have some fun today in Steve's Kitchen. I'll just wait until a few people have come in before I say what we're doing, although I'm sure some of you are already aware of it. We've got one viewer in already, which is heaps of fun. We are having problems with the Q&A app. I can't see those questions, so apologies again. If you're watching this through the Q&A app section or the Google Plus section, it's probably best to ask your questions on YouTube. It's been a busy week. We've been setting up, hopefully going to have better internet next week, so we might get higher quality pictures. And we've been working on a few things from last week with the focus on the camera. And I'm hoping things are going to get slowly better. I know that some of you are joining me live, which is fantastic. And there's several hundred people watching it at a later date. So those of you watching it later, welcome to the show. Please comment down below. And towards the end of the show today, we will be looking at a little bit, well, during the show, we'll be looking at the gold leaf coating that I spoke about last week. So look forward to that. Now, if you do want to comment in YouTube, those should be coming up in my stream and I will be able to answer the questions there. But in the Q&A app, I might be able to pop in there just occasionally and have a look, but I suspect that we're not going to be able to see them from the Q&A app. So there are 5 viewers. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Australia, be it virtually, or if you're in Australia, please comment down below. Who's going to be first to comment today and ask a question? There's 7 people in there. If you want to ask a question, do it through YouTube. We'll have a quick look at the Q&A app. I think I can pull it up as if by magic. No good. There are not people asking questions in there. So please ask them. Watch the video on YouTube from my channel page, ask the questions down below. And they are slow to come through. They're not immediate, so be patient. We're going to be playing with ginger today. We're going to be playing with ground beef or, ground pork. Of course, you could use beef or you could use lamb. We're going to be making wonton dumplings. My kids are great fans of these. They're served all around where I live here. They're very popular. And dumplings, they're just so simple to make. Now, if you want to make the dumpling skins, I actually have some here. These are wonton skins. They look like a little square of cheese. They're very thin. There's probably about 2 or 3 of them there. Now, I've made these on my channel before when I made the Peking duck. Very easy. It's a hot water pastry, very simple to make. So if you want to try this later, I will leave a link. If you get across to steveskitchen.com, there'll be a link below the video. You'll be able to see how to make them. But if you can buy them, these pastries are so cheap. You can buy... You know, I've made them before, but realistically, you can get a stack of maybe 50 to 100 for $1, $1.10, $1.50. You can get actually several times that for $3 here in Australia. So it does kind of beg whether or not you should make them. And they are basically just plain flour and water and a little bit of seasoning. Very easy to make. And we're going to be taking those later on and turning them into wonderful wonton dumplings, which of course you can make along with me if you wish. You will need some ground pork, ground beef, ground chicken, also prawn or shrimp is fantastic as well. You will need some seasoning and flavoring also to go into your wonton. Now, you could pretty much use what you like. A little bit of chili, a little bit of ginger, a little bit of onion in there. I'm going to be using chives, but I'm actually using the chive flowers. Let me see if you can see those here. These are the center stalks that come up through the center of the chives. They have beautiful flower heads on the top of them. And when these flower, they're usually like a purple flower. They're great for salads. A little bit sweeter than the chives themselves. but you can use straightforward chives, not a problem at all. You will want a little bit of flour just to bind your meats together. And I'm going to be using some coriander, a little bit of oyster sauce, some soy sauce. I'm probably going to use some light soy sauce. So if you want to join me on that, there are 14 of you in there. I'm sure some of you are asking questions. They haven't come up yet. When they do, I will answer. Now, I hope you're enjoying the Halloween season. By the way, if Anne is in the house, I loved your video. It's so creative. If you haven't seen Easy Gluten Free's video this week, you get across. I'll leave the link on my site because that lady, she impresses me. It was just heaps of fun. Great character, and I enjoyed it. And it's the sort of thing I love doing. Now, there's a few videos going up this month that are reposts of some of my older videos that were from last year when I didn't have many subscribers. So I've just reposted them to sort of make people aware of them. And there are quite a few new videos. I particularly enjoyed the spider cheesecake. I probably, if I say one or two more, I'll make a mistake of telling you about ones I haven't put up yet, but there are some really fun ones. There's a cool pie. I think if you saw the photograph of me holding the scary octopus pie, that will be going up very shortly. It's heaps of fun. And I may redo some of my older videos as well towards the end of Halloween. I know it's a lot of Halloween, but straight after Halloween, we've got heaps going on as well. There's a pasta series. We'll be doing some guanciale. Shall I get the guanciale? I think some of you might have seen it 2 series ago. I'll just go and grab one. Excuse me. Now you can still hear me, but you can't see me. I've just gone into my back room. This is the guanciale, or the pig's cheek. And now this is curing. You can see the salt starting to form on the surface of the pig's meat, and you can see the pig's cheek, should I say, and you can see that it's curing beautifully. Smells fresh. There should be no bad smells coming off of there. This is probably about a week or so from being ready for me till it's full maturation, and we will be making some wonderful dishes. This is one of the most delicious pancetta style cured porks that you can get, and I'm also going to be showing on the channel how to make this one, so I hope you'll stay tuned for that. And that's probably going to take an appearance in the pasta series that we'll be doing throughout November. Fingers crossed. Giga 2122, you are the first comment through. Hello, you're here again. Great to have you. Let's pop him up on the screen. Good morning, or good evening, I think it is to you. So welcome to the show. Isaac is in there. Hi, Isaac. Lovely to have you in. The comments are starting to flow in now. Fantastic. I love to hear you. Gorgeous Roddy Chrome. Hello from Tuesday. I am a time traveler. It is Wednesday. I should have my Doctor Who shirt on. It is Wednesday here. And if you jump in the old TARDIS, get across to Wednesday. Oh, no, you already have. You'll be joining us. Roddy, it's good to have you in. Little rhubarb. Little rhubarb. I love rhubarb, by the way. I think it's all in season here at the moment, so I'm certainly seeing a lot more of it in the shops. Welcome from the UK. It's late for you. Thank you for staying up so late to join me today. Fantastic. AJ Video Stars, 5th comment. Cool videos. Is that one from earlier? Okay, so there are quite a few comments that come through to me that were put up during the last 24 hours, because when we launch this, the video goes up on the screen. Anyway, welcome to every one of you. I don't know if any of you will be making dumplings with me today. Diddle diddle dumpling, my son John. Do you know the nursery rhyme? Went to bed with his trousers on, one shoe off or one sock on. Well, I won't try and remember it. I'll make a fool of myself. But anyway, diddle diddle dumplings, because we are making wonton dumplings, a favorite dumpling of mine. Very, very simple to make. And we're going to be frying them, not deep frying, just a shallow fry, but you can steam these. You can steam them in a traditional steaming basket, the Asian style basket, a little bit of paper in there, pop them above a pot of water and steam them. You can boil them. Not so keen on them boiled. They can often fall apart if you don't get the seams crimped nicely. You can deep fry them, which is very similar as well. And I know no questions here. I saw your comment on the Google Plus, and I did reply to it, but I have to log it out of my Steve's Kitchen account to go across to my regular account and see it there, because I think what might be happening, and I'm getting on to Google about this, I think what might be happening, if I set up these Google Hangouts from my profile account, Steve Owens, I think then the Q&As will come through. But for some reason, when I set them up through Steve's Kitchen, the Q&A app is not connecting to the server, so I'm not seeing them. Stephanie, good morning, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you? Good to see you on the show. Always wonderful to have you here, Stephanie. Just to have a little bit of water. Now, I don't know if any of you are getting across afterwards and watching the show, or if anybody's watching it right now from within Steve's Kitchen. I always put a link to a page on my website where you can see some show notes, hopefully the ingredients for what we've made today, and any references to any stories. Now, I was thinking of sitting down and doing a little bit of a review of the news, the food news. Food news this week. Remember last week, I talked about the Glam Burger. It was a burger that was made in Chelsea in London, and it was the world's most expensive hamburger. Well, of course, the naysayers were straight onto that story. Gold has no nutritional value. When are people going to stop using gold? And I understand where they're coming from, but it feels to me a little bit like almost when you get trolling going on, where people put up a feel-good story and just sort of say about something, and then somebody drops on it. Because yes, gold has no real nutritional value. As far as we know, it doesn't have any harm either. It's a tiny amount. It's not that expensive. You can get little pouches of gold. There's probably about 20 or 30 leaves of gold in here, and we often put them across Indian sweets when we make them. And I mean, it's almost like saying the Mona Lisa in a gallery, the frame doesn't add any value to the picture at all. Yeah, the Mona Lisa's a beautiful painting. The frame is kind of irrelevant, but without it, it's not stating the fact that this is a painting. So if you hung it in the gallery without, or maybe another example could be a Rolls Royce or a Jaguar car, the smell of leather on the seats, you know, putting leather seats in there doesn't make the car go faster. It doesn't give it more fuel efficiency. But when you get in there, you're engulfed by the smell, the senses of leather. And the gold on top of that hamburger, it doesn't add any nutritional value. And it actually isn't expensive to put on there. But you've got the Kobe beef, you've got the lobster, caviar, all the expensive ingredients, much more expensive than the gold, by the way. So once you've constructed this bun, you're just gilding it with gold. So I know it doesn't add any great nutritional value, but let people have their fun. Let's just enjoy it. Now, another story I noticed today was in Vietnam, and I read this that beer couldn't be served warm, and I thought, oh, that's not good. That won't be good for the Brits. We like our warm beer. Great for the Aussies because we like our cold beer. But actually what they were saying is they weren't going to let people serve beer in warm areas. So you could only serve beer in a cold bar, which kind of, I think everyone's up in arms. Anyway, it hasn't been passed. I don't know that it will get passed, but it was just a story that I noted, and I'll leave a link on my channel. Halloween, the world's largest pumpkin in the Napa Valley in California. Maybe some of my American friends will have heard of this. A guy has grown a 2,000-pound pumpkin. Now, I will put photographs on my site so you can get and see it. Doesn't look much like a pumpkin. I don't know what you think it looks like, but it's a shame we can't put photographs up. Maybe there will be a way eventually. It actually looks like Jabba the Hutt off of Star Wars. 2,000-pound pumpkin. I don't know if it's edible. Well, it must be edible. It's huge anyway. And I think that's, oh, the amazing thing is you get paid $6 when you win this prize for the biggest. You get $6 per kilo for the winning pumpkin. So I think this gentleman's going to win $1,200. Would that be about right? $1,200. Yes, that's a nice prize and a great incentive to grow even larger pumpkins every year. I think he beat the nearest one by about 400 pounds. So what is that, about 300 kilos? It's not exactly, but it's quite some size. Now, let's have a quick think if there's anything else in the news. I will just have a quick look at the questions and see. Claire from Berlin in Germany. Welcome, Claire. It's lovely to have you. I always see your comments on YouTube and it's wonderful to have you. It must be quite late there as well. So thank you for staying up to watch me. Ginger2122, good morning. Yes. Is that the same question or is that's a different one? And then Hamburger 24/7 pasta. Yes, I will be doing a pasta series, and the guanciale, the pig's cheek, which I showed earlier on. If some of you have just joined, this is my homemade guanciale. Actually, I've used both pig cheeks, so there's 2 pig's cheeks. This is a beautiful cured pork cut. It is most delicious. If you haven't had it before, the traditional pork, by the way, when you have carbonara in Italy. I first saw this when I was in Lucca, little town, or it's a walled city below Florence in Italy. Beautiful place, and it was the first time I ever saw this made, and I've probably been making it ever since. For those of you that didn't know, I used to keep pigs myself. We had a small farm, so we used to use every part of the pig as respect for the animals that we were breeding. So Fred Garvin 77. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere. It's not beer o'clock yet, Fred. Not at what are we now? 10:15 in the morning. But yes, I do hear you. And the last bit of news, and if you want to share any news stories with me, please feel free to do so. I hope the sound is coming through. Clearly it's coming through, all right. In the UK, I don't know if it's anywhere else, but it's Chocolate Week. It's always something week. It's National Chocolate Week. Now, if you're familiar with pot noodles, and I think most people are, they seem to be all over the world. I think they're made by Unilever, one of those great food. They decided to bring out a choc noodle. And I saw the title, I think it said, the pot noodle nobody asked for. Now, I know it sounds great, choc noodles, and the idea is you can get a full meal from a pot noodle, a dessert and a main course. But I don't know about you, but when I have a pot noodle, I always feel a little bit guilty afterwards, and it's almost like I've eaten something a little bit unhealthy. I'm not that keen on them, but the choc noodles sound delightful, but actually they don't have any chocolate in them. I'll leave the link to the story down below. So you may be seeing choc noodles in the shops where you are, unless anybody already has them. So that's a little wrap up of the news. If you have any news story you want to share with me, you can shoot them across in the comments down below for next week, if there's anything exciting. So Mary, you are, greetings from Oregon. Greetings back to you, and you're watching with your cat. What's your cat's name? Oh, he's asleep. He's asleep. He's a cat. Of course he's asleep. I love cats, absolutely love cats, but don't they just sleep most of the time? What's his name? Pop it up there. I can say, I'll wake him up with a shout. So what is diddle diddle dumpling, said Ginger 2112. Diddle diddle dumpling is a nursery rhyme. It's just a sort of a veiled reference to the fact that I'm making dumplings today on the show. And Diddle diddle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his trousers on, one shoe off or one sock on, one shoe off. Diddle diddle dumpling, my son John. I'm not sure of the exact words. I should have probably checked it, but nursery rhyme, that's what that's about. Hamburger 24 cents. You just woke up from a nap. You're not the cat, are you? No, you just woken up because no, that was possibly a bit too deep. Anyway, I'm glad to have you on the show. So, Nana Chan, speaking of dumplings, have you been to Din Tai Fung? Din Tai Fung? No, I don't even quite know what Din Tai Fung is. Is it some sort of is it yum cha or dim sum? Is it some, or is it a particular place? I'm not sure. You'll have to comment down below and tell me, or comment on the screen and tell me what Din Tai Fung is. I've been to dim sum many times. I lived in China for quite some time and traveled through Hong Kong and China. So, and here we have yum cha and we have dim sims in Australia. I don't know if people around the world have dim sims. They're just basically a dim sum, but bigger. Michael, you love dumplings. Me too. And I should probably start getting on. We're 22 minutes in and I'll start preparing them very shortly. Hamburger 24 cents, loves the recipes. San Francisco, what a beautiful city. I've been there and I love it. It's one of my favorite cities in California. It's just very pretty. Right. If any of you are interested, I've got my little stovetop on here. I've got a skillet because I am going to be frying. You can use a pan of any sort. I am going to be frying these off. We have got our head down camera. And I've got some, let's just change to that camera briefly. I've got some ground pork here. I'm going to season that pork. I might add a little bit of salt in there. We've got about a pound, 500 grams of ground pork. Just going to add a little bit of salt into that, obviously, just to draw that flavor out. Now, I'm going to be using fresh ginger. I've actually prepared some a little bit earlier, so I don't have to bore you with chopping up ginger, but I've just chopped it coarsely, not too fine. I'm going to pop that in there. I've got a couple of garlics. These are not cloves of garlics. This is actually young garlic. They're round bulbs, very similar. And I'm going to pop some garlic in there now. Just going to crush it. And if I can find my little knife there, we'll just take that garlic off the bottom. I will actually add a little bit more in there because I like the flavor the garlic brings out. So we are just adding some flavor into this pork. Some of you may notice when I start to make these a similarity between this and another cuisine from around the world. Now I want to put some onions in there. Scallions, spring onions. I call them spring onions. Probably just a couple of those. Take the ends off. Now, do you call these spring onions or scallions? I'm sure the people in the UK call them spring onions. And I think in the US, they call them scallions. But I'm just going to chop these up. Keep your fingers nicely away from the knife. I'll have to do a video on knife skills one day if I can develop my own knife skills to a level where it's worth doing. Pop those spring onions or scallions into the meat as well. Now, as I said to you before, I am going to be using chive flowers, just the stalks. They're a little bit woody towards the end. So I'm just going to take the end off. Now you could just use regular chives. They're just a little bit stronger. These are just a little bit sweeter. And I'm probably not going to use all these, but I am going to just chop them up. I hope this isn't too boring. Now you can tell me down below if I should do all the preparation. The reason I'm doing a little bit of preparation is because some of you may be doing this along with me, and I don't want to leave you behind. Let's pop those chives or chive flowers in there so you can tell now we're starting to get some flavor into that. Now, probably about a tablespoon or two of I'm using a light soy sauce. You could use a medium or dark soy sauce, but I'm probably going to put about a tablespoon in there, probably a little over a tablespoon. I'm going to put some oyster sauce in as well. If I was using a dark soya, I probably wouldn't use the oyster sauce, but I'm going to put about a tablespoon of oyster sauce. I should be measuring this out, shouldn't I? Whoops, there goes my cup. I'm going to pop some rice flour in just to help bind that together. A tablespoon of rice flour. Now, let's just pick that cup up before I forget it. Where's my spoon? Here it is. Get the knife out of there and give this a little mix through. Start to bring those flavors together. Now, I would normally leave that to sit for half an hour or so to allow the salt to draw the moisture out of the meat and get some of those flavors deep into the meat. I have forgotten fresh coriander. Now, see this coriander here? Just grab my scissors. I love coriander going in. I'm going to take a nice big bunch of coriander off of there. It's nice and fresh and clean. And we're just going to chop this up nice and fine. Cilantro. Do they call it cilantro in the US? I think they do. I call it coriander, and I think in the US they call that cilantro. That's probably not fine enough yet. So pop that in there and give it a little mix through. And that really is it. As far as the filling for your dumplings, you could add some shiitake mushrooms in here. I often actually do, but shiitake mushrooms, when I went down to get them earlier today, they were not available, so I couldn't get them. And I would put a little bit of shiitake mushroom in there, and sometimes people put some other vegetables in as well. Maybe some choy sambok choy can go into there. Now, as I mentioned before, if you weren't here, there is a video. I think we come back up to the other camera for the time being. There is a video on my site that shows how to make these very simple dumpling papers. Now, this one here is the wonton papers that I can get. They are actually just a pastry and very simple, just wheat flour, all-purpose flour, hot water, a little bit of seasoning, very easy to make. And I've got a video. I'll leave a link below so that you can check that out if you want to. But if you're joining me and you've managed to get some dumpling skins, what we would do, should probably need a teaspoon. Get myself a teaspoon. We will take one of these. Let's do the other camera again. Sorry about that, jumping between cameras, but you can see. So you see there, I'm just going to take a teaspoon of my mixture, pop it in the center of these dumplings like that. Then I've got some water over here. I wet my fingers and just run it around the outside because we're going to be sealing this dumpling up. So I just run a little bit around the outside and then fold this dumpling. I'm going to do a very simple. There are so many ways that you can do that. I'm just going to fold that in half, seal it down. You've got like a little pasty there. So your meat's inside. And then what I'm going to do is just draw it. My finger's a little bit wet for the edge there. I'm just going to draw it round, pinch it together. And that is possibly one of the simplest little dumplings you can make. It's like a little tortellini. If you're watching, Anne, that is like a little Italian pasta, but they're very pretty. They make a great dumpling. You can sit those on the side. Now I'm going to get on and make a couple of those because I want to cook more than one of these on the show. So let's just bring the camera back up. And has anyone ever made these before, by the way? Has anyone made these at home? Kunefe. 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 Mary, you're saying your name is Kunefe? Oh, his name is Kunefe. He's named after a Turkish dessert. Highly recommended. You try to make it. It's delicious. Is this? I'm getting confused. Your cat is named after a Turkish dessert. That is so cool. I'm thinking, is this something I've got to cook? Mary, you threw me there by adding dessert into there. Don't, oh, you put that one away. I was going to say hello, but you probably get it wrong now. So see how quickly they are to make. I'm going to make very quickly 4 of these. You can make them with the square ones. I'll take a square one, exactly the same method. Let's pop that dumpling mixture into there. Exactly the same method. A little bit of water around the outside. Is anyone cooking along with me? I'm not sure. We'll see those comments. You seal it over. This time we're sealing it up to a point like that. And again, we just draw that around. Whoops, I haven't done that very well at all. In my haste to demonstrate to you, I haven't sealed the edges. And then we just draw that around and you have a very similar little dumpling with a point on the top. It's kind of cool. I prefer this slightly thicker white dumpling. I just think it's a more fulfilling dumpling. The yellow ones, when they cook, they have a very translucent color to them. So I'm not going to answer questions just for a moment because I want to get on and make these. Is anybody actually cooking along? Maybe I'll be able to answer questions and cook at the same time. But you know us men, not good at multitasking, apparently. Is that right, guys? Are we not good at multitasking? See, I'm talking to you and I'm putting my water around before I put my filling in there. Is that a good thing? Okay. Meg, I know that's Meg. I know her proper name. Is there a substitute for rice flour? You can use any flour, really. Quite often they use semolina flour, but you could use all-purpose flour. It's just really helping to bind the meat together as it cooks. And sometimes people pop an egg in there as well, Meg. So you can decide. And welcome to the show, by the way. Meg is a local girl. Don't think she's got a YouTube channel, not yet. But she is a local girl. You call them spring onions, Isaac. I hear coriander. You hear coriander more than cilantro from Michigan. Okay, so cilantro. You see, the seeds are coriander seeds because they come from the coriander plant. But so I'm not sure where cilantro comes from. It was sometime. I tell you what, we'll do a slightly different design this time. I think you can probably see that there. Rather than we're just going to crimp the edges. You can't see that from that side of the camera, but if you crimp the edges round of these dumplings, and just pop that down on the thing, we get a little ridged dumpling like that. Don't know if you can see them. So they're almost like to me, that looks like a little Cornish pasty. Or another way, actually another simple way, if you find, let's do the overhead camera again and let's just show this. This is what a three-cornered hat. These are all very simple ways to make dumplings. I'll do a couple of these, but what you do, if I can see that there, you ladies should be good at this. Apparently you're all much better than us at doing these designs, but we just pull two sides up and pinch it up to the top there. And you can turn it round if you like, and then take the third side, second side, should I say, and the third side, and I'm doing that to camera, so it's a little tricky from where I am. You end up with a little three-sided hat. Now, they make great little dumplings. They have a nice big surface area for my frying dumplings today. I'll do one more of those. And then I'm going to get on and show you how to cook these because they are so simple to cook and yet so delicious. So let's pull those in there. wonder if anyone is cooking away. Greetings, Rockstar. Hello, Rockstar's in the house. How are you? Making a right mess of these, Rockstar, and I was going to do another square one. Oh, we got that translucent comment. I'm actually going to leave that one off. And Nana Chan, it's a Taiwanese dumpling restaurant that's always very busy. There's one in Sydney. It's amazing. It's a 2-hour wait. No, I've never been there, and I actually have never heard of it. My apologies. Now, I don't know why our comments now are becoming translucent. That happened to us once before, so it becomes a little harder for you to read on the screen, much, much harder for me to read. I'm probably, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make one, maybe two more of these, and then we'll call it a day and get and cook them. I've got my new little stove top here. This is one of those induction heater tops. Let's do another 3-cornered hat. So Vicky Pie, welcome to the show. You should be asleep. Oh, in Scotland, it must. Is it after midnight? Vicky, is it after midnight? I think it probably is. I'm so sorry to keep you up. Get to bed. Well, not yet. Don't get to bed yet. Stay up a little while longer. You might be able to see these beautiful dumplings cook off. I'm going to do a 4-cornered hat as well, which is pretty much the same design. There are some beautiful videos, if anyone wants to check them out, showing you how to make some wonderful little designs. We're just going to draw 4 corners up. No, I don't know. I won't do the other camera, but we're just exactly the same as the 3-cornered hat, but we bring 4 corners of the dumpling up like that, and you have this wonderful little bottom to the dumpling. I like these sort of dumplings because when you fry them, they give you a nice surface, a nice caramelized surface area. I'm going to do one more of those. Is that desert or dessert? You're going to confuse me with your cat being named after a dessert. I suppose actually naming cats after sweet things is kind of cool. I've had a lot of cats over the years. I do love cats. When we used to have our farm, the cats were a big part of the farm, and cats are wonderful. You know, we used to keep rabbits as well. When the baby rabbits were born, you know, our cats would catch rabbits out in the wild. But when the baby rabbits, the little kits, they're called, tiny little pink balls, cats would go in with the rabbits and they would look after them. They would lick them. They wouldn't try to eat them. They would actually look after them. So they're very intuitive. The fact that these were pet rabbits, they weren't meant to be eaten, the cats knew. So we've got our little dumplings made here. Not a wonderful array, but some fun dumplings. And how are we going to cook these? Let's get that camera back down. I'm going to pop my pan on. Now I'm going to be doing this in a skillet, but you could do this in pretty much any frying pan. To start with, we want a medium heat. Beep, 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 beep. Not too high. I'm going to put enough oil in the pan, more than a tablespoon. I need to have it in my pan about 2 or 3 tablespoons, and then wait for that pan just to heat up a little bit. Lucky with this convection stove, it does get hot quite quick. What we want to do, if we have it too cold and you put them in there, they're going to stick. So as that comes up to temperature, you can take a dumpling and just touch it down. If you don't hear the little fizz of it frying, just pull it back out a bit. You can test it with your hand, just holding it above there, not on there, obviously. I don't want anyone to burn themselves, or a thermometer, but it really doesn't take long. Can you hear that crackling? Can you see the little crackle on the edge there now? So I am going to lay these in here. I've got my square one. I've got my 3-corner hats. I've got my little Italian pastas there. That one's unwrapping. Tortellini. Is that right, Anne? If you're in the house, tortellini. This to me is like a little Asian version of ravioli, but it's different in flavor, So there's enough room. I've got my dumplings in there now. 3 minutes. Just occasionally check to see if they're browning. Can you see the corner there? I'm going to pop the lid on there. 2 to 3 minutes. Every now and again, just keep an eye on them. I'm going to need a cup of water. Just get over to my sink here. So we're going to, this is purely to caramelize the bottom of the dumplings. Okay, let's bring that camera back up. I'll put my timer on so I can keep an eye on it. So they're sizzling away. The cover is on there. Zach Sutton, hello from Tuesday. Another time traveler. Hey, Zach, welcome to Steve's Kitchen. Lovely to have you up from the other side of the world. Are you in the US, Zach? Anyway, welcome to Steve's Kitchen. And it does look like tortellini. Yes, that's the wrong one. So we'll look at Elsie's in a moment. It does look like tortellini, like a slightly big tortellini, but the taste is quite a bit different. It's just, to me, it's got that Asian taste. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will make up a little sauce, a little dipping sauce. Elsie, what was that? Let's have a look. Since you're Asian, you've made dumplings before. The pinching method looks more like a dumpling. I know, and sometimes people just cut them in their hands and they just pull them over and screw them up on the top. You can really make them very simple. The great thing about these dumplings is make a big batch. Don't just do as many as I've done here, although this will feed 2 people comfortably for my liking. Make a big batch. They freeze exceptionally well. So you can take those out of the freezer. They don't even need to defrost. You can do them from frozen, pop them into the pan. We're coming up to 2 minutes, but whilst we're coming up to 2 minutes, I've a little bit of chopped ginger here. I'm going to pop it into a ramekin. Some ginger I chopped earlier on. A little bit extra of my garlic. As I say, I'm using the full bulb of garlic. Just keep an eye on the time. I think we might be coming up close to our 3 minutes. Not quite yet. It's not rocket science. Look, if I lift those up now, look at the bottom of these. See how they're browning? I'm probably holding that up to the wrong camera. See the edges are browning off. I'm happy. I like that caramelization. So that one's sticking. They do stick occasionally, so you do want to just give them a little pull up. I'm going to turn that heat up a tiny bit higher. See if I can find my garlic press. I'm not, this was just a spur of the moment idea, really. A little bit of garlic in that bowl as well. We're just making a little dipping sauce to make sure I've got the complete smell of garlic in my breath this afternoon. I won't be kissing anybody. I'm going to top that up probably with about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of my soy sauce. I'm just using a light soy sauce. Get some chopsticks. Give that a little mix through. Now, also sesame oil. Drizzle of sesame oil in there. The flavors are just delicious. And that I'm going to pop aside. I'm going to serve those with my dumplings shortly. Now, they've been in there 3 minutes. Now what we're going to do is change the camera down, if we can, quickly as we can. The heat is on a bit of a stutter, a medium heat there. Now, I want you to take a cup of water. This is going to splash a little bit. We're just going to drop it in there. Okay. And cover that. There's a cup of water in there now. And now the steam, those dumplings are going to steam from within and cook through 7 to 10 minutes, and they should be perfectly cooked. Okay, we'll bring that camera back up. I know one of my dumplings at least has stuck. Might have a little bit of trouble getting it out, but never mind. Is anyone cooking along? Mr. Piffyog, what's going on? So I'm glad you could catch up. I'm so pleased that you came in as well. It's great to have you in. I know you've been commenting before, and I hoped you'd be able to get in today. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live hangout. 004. When we get to 007, maybe we'll do something a little bit special. So Elsie, you can call it cilantro in Canada and the US. Yeah, it was quite some time in my life before I heard it called cilantro, but I'm kind of used to it now. Traveled around the world a great deal, so we do tend to hear these different words. So it's chocolate week, beginning of 21-22. Did you bother having a choc noodle? Have you seen the choc noodles in the shop? Yeah, I was saying in the food news earlier on that they are producing a choc noodle, just like a styrofoam cup with some chocolate noodles. I'm not sure. We can't get them here where I am. The idea sounds wonderful, but I'm suspecting that I would have a slight feeling of guilt if I ate one. Jury Rustom, you say you want to know how I learned to cook so good. Really, I've been cooking for so many years. I just have a fascination for food, and it's something that I started doing when I was very young, and I just enjoy cooking. It's practice, really, just continual cooking throughout your life. Enjoying your food. When I travel, I often try to learn about food techniques when I'm traveling. Like I was saying before, when I was in Lucca in Italy, I learned so many things. So yeah, becoming accomplished at cooking is all about really anything the same in life. It's doing it often and enjoying it. Luke, welcome. You got in, great to have you in. Welcome to the show. Now you'll see that they're boiling. You can see them on this camera here. The steam there is going to reduce down. That cup of water I popped into those noodles, I've got a bit of a gap around the pan, is pretty much going to evaporate away, and we're going to be left with these wonderful noodles. Now that caramelization, noodle dumplings, just getting reminded by my wife, which brings me to 99 Chanmaster. Are you married? Well, yes, because my wife just reminded me not to call them noodles. Wonton noodles is another thing we used to have a lot when we lived in Asia and traveled around the world, so that's why. Fred Garvin, you predict that the three-cornered ones will fall apart when frying. Just going to turn my heat down. Now, when you get that fierce bubbling going on, lower your heat down a little bit. We don't want them to boil completely dry and burn the bottom of the noodles. You put dumplings. Diddle, diddle, dumpling. Now, let's just bring a plate over here. Got my coffee over on the side there waiting for me. Not sure if I particularly want a cup of coffee with dumplings, not noodles. I'm going to pop my dipping sauce there. How are we doing for time? On my clock, it says I've got a minute or so left. Let's bring that heat back up. I still want those bubbles to come because I want most of the water to boil off. Anna. Good morning, Anna. You must be up late. Anna is from, is it Leeds, Anna? Are you up north? Anyway, it's wonderful to have you on the show. I'm so glad you've joined me. And I'm doing the wonton dumplings. You may have had them before, Anna. sizzling away there. Blue Socks, Father Steve. Hello, Father Steve. Bless you, my son. And you've said it is tortellini. Yes, I thought it, to me they look like little tortellini. What does tortellini mean? I remember the word. I was told, my Italian friends have told me many times, but I forget. Anne, what is tortellini in English? Or anybody out there that can remember or knows what tortellini means translated. It's not little pig's ears. That's the other pasta. Now I'm going to turn that right down. Taking the lid off now. My alarm is just about to beep. Now, we'll take the camera back down here. And somebody predicted that my three-cornered dumplings were going to fall apart. They haven't done. They may have stuck, but we're just going to put the slice across the bottom here. Just release them all from the bottom of the pan. Now, let's have a look. Let's take that three-cornered one here and have a look at the... that one's a little bit too loose, perhaps. I will get my tongs. It'll be easier to turn them over with the tongs. So you'll see the bottom of the noodles are nice and crispy. Just going to pop that one on there. Can you see that? And let's move that meat out of the way a bit. So my little four-cornered hat there, got my little pasty shaped one. Now that one didn't brown, so I probably didn't have that close enough to the edge. This one was the one that I thought stuck, and it did. And that's mainly because my pan is not that well seasoned. This is a fairly new pan. Can you see the bottom of that one? Beautiful caramelization on the bottom of that little tortellini. Pop that down there. Leave them in the pan if you're not eating them straight away. There you have it. Let me just show you that on the camera before we change. Go across to the other camera. Now these are my chopsticks that I've used for years. They're getting a bit tatty now, so I'm going to use some slightly different ones. Here are my dumplings, and I am not going to eat one right now because they are going to be super, super hot. But I would dip them into my sauce, just let them cool down a little bit. Let's see if there's any questions. There are 22 viewers in at the moment. Welcome to every one of you. And if you are watching this recorded at a later date, comment down below. 23 viewers in now. I love to have your comments. It's fantastic. I hope you're enjoying these live shows. People are telling me they're not too long. I thought they were going to be a little bit too long, but there doesn't seem any way of making them shorter. So we just take them as they are. I'm hoping within the next 10 days, we're going to have a faster internet connection. I am going to pop myself a coffee on. Let me just check the clock. We have been 54 minutes. Pop that on there. I've ground the coffee earlier. Steve from Steve's Cooking is not in the house today, I don't think, but Steve always reminds me to put my coffee on. Steve, where are you? You're not here to tell me to put the coffee on. And I will leave a link to your channel on today's show, so if people want to get across and say hello. I've got to try one of these. The smell from these is absolutely delicious. So I've got my little chopsticks here. I've got this wonderful, I'm going to actually prod it through. This is possibly going to be messy. Dip that in there. And oh, that's delicious. The cilantro or the coriander is coming through. My microphone's here, so you're probably hearing all sorts of horrible noises. That is absolutely delicious. Megan, they are delicious and so simple to make. So I hope you'll give these a try. They work really well with shrimp or prawns. They work great with chicken, diced chicken, and you can add whatever flavoring you like into there. Some extra vegetables. You can make vegetarian dumplings as well if you don't like meat. You could use a combination of maybe some bok choy and some carrot, a little bit of what was I thinking? Some ginger in there as well would be quite nice. Some big pieces of ginger can taste really absolutely delicious. Now there's a message there from Malaysia. I just have to right. So I'm getting a tip here from Sakurai saying to add a little bit of corn flour or a little bit of flour into the water will make a nice texture. Yes, that is another way. I'm making these today the way my kids like them. So this is the way I would make them for the kids. But you can do, once you've made those dumplings, got none to show you now. Once you've made those dumplings, you can actually steam them, you can boil them, you can deep fry them. A lot of people love them deep fried and they become crispy. They're all wonderful ways of cooking them, and you can serve them with little ginger sauces, a little bit of chopped ginger. Sesame oil is always a favorite of mine. A little bit of sesame oil gives a great, actually the sesame oil comes through on that when I dip it in. I almost want to have another one, but I don't want to have a mouthful of food all the time. Luke, I think I just answered yes. So yes, deep fry. You can deep fry them. I like them shallow fried, just one side, so that you get that caramelized side on there. Sharon is in the house. Sharon, welcome to the show. It's so lovely to have you here. You're going to watch the whole show tomorrow morning. Well, when you do, tell me that you've been watching it. I know you're here now, and it's so good to have you in the house. Sharon, a long time and favorite subscriber of mine. I can, Anne from Easy Gluten Free is saying that I can kiss Michelle. Michelle is my wife, as long as she eats them too, because there's garlic in there. You're right. She won't let me kiss her if I've got the smell of garlic on my breath. But luckily, we're going to sit and I might make up a few more because I've only used about a third of my minced pork here. Now I'm just going to pop my coffee through the filter here. A little bit of noise in the background. Heat up some milk. Rockstar, I saw a comment coming up there. Right, Rockstar, the wraps. Asian supermarkets generally have them. Let me just turn some of this noise down and put Rockstar's question up on the screen. Asian supermarkets generally have them. Let me just get a packet of them out to show you. See if I've got a... Sorry about this. So they often come in packs. They look a little bit like cheese slices. These are the wonton wraps. The round ones, they come in packs like this. A pack like this, which has already had some out of there, about $1.50, shouldn't be too expensive. But you can make them yourself. I've made them on my channel before. I used to make them all the time, but they are just too cheap to buy. So I tend to buy them, like a lot of pastries, quite often making them. They're very easy to roll. There's a video, I'll show you how to roll them out. They're very, very simple to make. Thank you for the question. Would I be able to send you some dumplings? Yeah, well, like flattened in an envelope. I could send you some dumplings, but I don't think they get through the post. I'm sure there's some rule or regulation out there that tells us we're not allowed to send dumplings by the post. They're probably dangerous goods. We are coming to the end of the show. I'm just popping a shot of coffee in there, which I probably don't even feel like because these wontons are so delicious, and I do want to have another one while you're still here and whilst they're still hot. You see, that was the one that didn't get sealed. There's a little bit of brown on the edge. My sauce here is just fantastic. Mmm. You'll see how I tried to delicately bite off just a little bit of dumpling there and end up with the whole thing in my mouth. Well, that's the way you're going to eat them if you try them at home. Fantastic flavors. They are like a ravioli, but they are so much different and so tasty. Please try these at home. I am going to wrap up now. We're an hour into the show. There's been some wonderful people in today. It's been lovely having you here. I will read the comments. I'm sure I've missed some of them. I will read all the comments and get back to you very shortly. We've got another show planned for next week, and I'll put details of that up a day or so before. So I hope you'll join me again there with making some fun things. Thank you for joining me here on Steve's Kitchen. Love to every one of you, wherever you are in the world. Any quick comments maybe before I go? Let's just see if anything's going to refresh. I'm sure people are commenting there. If I don't say now, I will comment very shortly. Love to you all. Take care. From Steve's Kitchen in Australia. Got the Aussie jacket on. Good night. Good morning. Good evening. Good day.